Morning. You got it. Obviously, it was only day one, but what did you see from Jackson?
Day one. You answered your question. Operated fine. Did a good job. See if we can build on it a little bit today.
Are you seeing a little bit more with each class you've gotten acclimated to? Have you seen the adjustment to them getting up to speed in terms of like being ready to go right now as opposed to the years prior, or is it still just the same thing?
Yeah, same thing for these young players. There's again, a lot of information, not just the football side of it, all the other things that go into moving, being at a new place at a young age. There's a lot of work that goes into it. A lot of meetings, there's a lot of mess ups, mistakes. You just correct them, and then you see if the guys can take the teaching and instruction and improve on it the next day. And that's just try to build it each day with these guys. Usually for most young players, it just doesn't happen like that.
You seemed to be in really good spirits yesterday. You were moving around, you had a smile on your face, you were kind of throwing a couple jabs at people. Like, do you just attribute that to being back on the field and kind of back into that element, getting that feeling back?
What's the alternative? What do I usually do?
Well, no, it's just I don't know if I've ever seen you dancing around out there.
No, yeah, you enjoy being out there on the field. Like the guys we got an opportunity to work with, but it's always good to get back on the field rather than be in the office.
You probably worked throughout your career, Brian, with a lot of rookies at this stage. I mean, of course, like we've seen a little jittery back there or wide-eyed. Jackson did seem comfortable. Was that something that you picked up on? That he seemed kind of at ease back there, even on day one?
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody rushing him. He did what he was supposed to do. He was prepared. He put a lot of time and effort into it. I got a lot of appreciation for how he's gone about short amount of time his business, and that's what's most important is how we can get him to a routine, meeting with players extra, having walkthroughs at the hotels, communication. That's part of playing quarterback is being on top of all those little things. And if he can't be on top of them, then the other guys, if they don't know him, he can't direct them in the right direction. So in terms of where he threw the ball, and he's not running any exotic coverages or having a pass rush or pressure. So there'll be time to develop that. But what we've asked him to do and how he's gone about his business as a young pro at that position is important.
As you saw it, or you heard, or you found out about it when he was meeting extra with some of his teammates, what goes through your mind when you see a young guy doing that?
Yeah, that's what he should do. Quarterback.
Yep. I imagine not everyone does.
Good ones do. Yeah, good one. I mean, it doesn't guarantee you that, but that's part of being a quarterback, part of being a leader, making sure that you're on top of your stuff. But in order to be an effective quarterback, you have to have all other guys around you on top of their stuff. And at this early part of the stage, you might get a receiver going, hey, what do I got? What do I got? And if he can't answer that question, then he's not really doing his full job. He's got, he needs to know everybody's responsibility playing quarterback.
Did he have to be told that, Jackson, or did he just do that?
Yeah, I think he's got some natural leadership qualities. Like we communicate, we're trying to teach as much as we can, not just plays, but a lot of other things that we believe are important for a young quarterback. We'll continue to do that. He's got the right traits for it.
Abdul, Mike with Casco with the walkie-talkie yesterday, and we made a decision on.
Good observation.
Abdul talked about kind of you guys are trying to help him become a leader too. What are you trying to see from him? Maybe kind of take that. And they don't stay one, but just what do you see from him, challenging him in that way?
Same thing. Look, these two guys were high picks, so they'll have some responsibilities, not just knowing when to drop or when to rush or who to throw it to, but leadership things that we'll ask them to do in terms of the group. Again, they got such a long way to go. We had a big press conference yesterday, the first day. There's not much that's changed from day one to day two.
When you started this in the NFL, rookie minicamp, there were 11-on-11s. There was a lot of stuff, a lot longer practices.
Times are changing.
I mean, when you look back at that, I mean, we could have asked you 100 questions about that back then. It looked like a real camp.
Some people don't even do rookie camps right now.
Nothing. I mean.
The biggest thing I noticed is the nice bags they got from the NILs. They didn't have those nice bags before. There's a lot of nice bags in the indoor right there.
It's probably a lot of nice cars in the parking lot.
Taking the bus right now.
But did you? I mean, you got a lot out of that. I as a coach, you know, back then? I mean, do you kind of look and say, well, we can't get that?
No, I'd say, I mean, again, Paul, the biggest thing that you usually try to get out of a rookie camp, at least where I've been and who I've worked for, is kind of get to know them. It's, you don't have pads on, you're not playing football, there's a lot of things, there's anxiousness, there's so much information that you're trying to give them, they're trying to retain. Again, it's very, very introductory. So I would say that much, sorry, for me?
No, it's me.
Apologize. I would say that much has changed relative. Nobody's making a team or anything like that. They're kind of just starting at the beginning of the alphabet here.
Coach, just building off Paul's question.
Yeah.
It's still weird for me looking at this roster, the rookie mini camp, and see 24, 25-year-olds. So you see like a difference between the age group that you used to deal with when you first got into where we are now? Is that nothing really changes?
Not too much. Again, they got a little bit more money in their pocket from college footballers nowadays, but they're all coming to a new spot. They're all meeting new people. They're getting coached different techniques. They're learning new playbooks. They're learning where things are in the city. I mean, there's a lot, as you know, those of you who have children their age, which I do have a bunch of them, a lot of things that are going on in their lives when they're young 20-year-olds. So at times they change. You try to acclimate the best you can to help them and where they're at, but make sure they keep their feet grounded where they're at and do the right thing.
You mentioned, Brian, the NIL deals and money in pockets and bags. Has that helped at all with the evaluation of kids, where maybe a variable of how are they going to handle their first NFL paycheck? You don't have to think about that anymore?
That's a great question. I don't think I have a great response for you. I know you know, back in the day you'd ask them, hey, what are you going to get with your first contract? Well, most of them have had that already. So whether they got a Louis bag or a nice pair of Jordan, whatever it may be, that's a good question.
We saw Cam Scatterboot behind the plays, kind of mirroring everything.
Yeah.
Yesterday, was that something that he just kind of did on his own? Did somebody talk to him about it, or is that just him being anxious and wanting to be out there? And since he can't, he's going to do whatever he needs.
No, look, you try to steal as many reps as you can as a player, particularly to a new system. So there's a lot of guys that can watch and visualize it and see it, and some other guys. Cam can do both. He's a pretty smart guy, but some people like to go through the mechanics of what he would be doing, 10 yards behind him, and see it the way that the running back sees it in the same spot. It's something we do with a lot of our guys. He's a pretty conscientious young man.
How do you sort of, after this, how do you sort of integrate them in the next step into the rest of the team?
Yeah, so we'll be in a phase 2, which we are. This will be another week into that. Our strength coaches have a good plan to get them going in the strength and conditioning part of it. And there's a lot of extra meetings for the rookies to try. You try to catch them up as quick as you can, Jordan.
They jump in this week.
Yeah,
right in.
Yeah. So, and then some will be at the premiere here later in the week. But there's a lot of things that, again, they're so far behind just in a few weeks, and a lot of guys have been in their system for a while. So you're spending as much time with them. They have to put the time in as well. They're responsible outside the building to make sure they're doing the right things to put themselves in a good chance to come out here and compete and show what they can do. And if you don't know what you're doing, or you can't do it, quickly, then other people will get a chance to do it.
We'll take 3 more.
Normally under those circumstances, you always hear guys say, well, there have been a time in their careers where they've been freshmen and they have to assimilate with juniors and seniors. That usually goes over a course of 4 years.
Sure.
This is basically a course of 4 days, and now these young guys are going to have to jump into a locker room that's essentially been together. Do you or your coaches, I don't want to say like to see, but kind of watch personalities, see how guys, what you think you have, but see how they kind of mesh right now when they join the school?
With the veterans?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, our job as a coaching staff, you do a lot of work on the college players, but do you really know them? You don't get to know them until you spend a lot of time with them. Stuff they like to do outside the building, inside the building, what makes them tick. That's the job of the coaches to make sure we do that. And you always like to see them integrate with the veterans. Again, I think we got a confident rookie group. They all know that they haven't done anything yet other than show up, but they're on time. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They got a little grit to them. So we'll just try to develop them. And I'm sure our veterans, we have good guys in those rooms, and they'll help them along the way. But those young guys got to help themselves out the most.
Also, part of that, you said something about if they're getting things wrong or they don't know things.
Yeah.
The teammates, the locker room is going to really be the one that kind of calls them on it a little bit too. So I would imagine there's a little bit of urgency from that perspective.
Yeah, they're in competition. So again, I don't want to just use a rookie for example. An 8-year veteran doesn't know what he's going to do. Play a rookie ahead of him. He does. Like, it's competition. Either you go out, you know what to do, you can do it at a high level quickly, communicate well, know your responsibility. That's what this time for the next however many months until we build our team, which is a long way away. But those are the evaluation tools too that you're using when you can't be in pads and things like that. Is communication, discipline, attitude, commitment to the team, all those type of things.
You learn anything
Last
about
one.
Daboll here in the first few days in the building? I mean, he certainly looks like he fits the part physically when you just look at him.
Yeah, that's why he was picked third. Because he looks like that, but he plays like that as well. Again, it's hard. He's a defensive lineman. You guys can see his quickness out here and things like that. But
I almost meant more like personality.
Yeah, okay, I got you. He, good kid, conscientious, good communicator, and disciplined with the things we asked him to do. Has a good attitude. Those guys that were drafted, it kind of, again, it's day one, so but they're interacting pretty well with one another. Offense to defense, defense to offense. I like the young guys we got. So, look forward to working with them.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you all.